Michigan's rock station. Q106.
Corrine Roberts has entered the dojo. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Wonderful. Corrine Roberts, one of the many artists, real artists, not robots working for the plagiarism machine,
No.
who will be showing up at Capital City Comic Con at the Lansing Center coming up here in mid-July. Corrine, how's life treating you today?
It's been good. Yes, definitely. I'm getting back into shows, even art shows, not just Comic-Cons, but I love it. I love this season, so it's been going really good.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that truly Capital City Comic Con season. It's my favorite time of year in Lansing. Are you? Where do you hail from?
Technically, West Michigan. Technically,
Okay,
West Michigan, like Grand Rapids area.
Okay, I won't hold that against you. Rapids is fine. I didn't turbo stalk your bio. Like I've looked up I've viewed your art. You have such just a gorgeous, whimsical art style. I love it so much, man. I guess getting into it, how have you been? I'm guessing you've been to Lansing before. Maybe you had maybe you had a court date here with the state. I don't know.
No, I actually have a family in Lansing. So my grandmother lived in Lansing. So I've been there for years, ever since I was a kid. So very used to it.
Okay, so you got somebody to couch surf with when you're here. Perfect.
That's right, exactly.
Very cool, very cool. Corrine, again, your art style, it's gorgeous. It reminds me a little bit of, I'm a huge Magic the Gathering guy. I have all the cardboard crack. It's reminiscent of Rebecca Guay with these, I don't know if you're familiar with her work at all, but
I probably would be if I saw it, not the name, but it's one of those, like, especially with any sort of Magic the Gathering. I grew up with a lot of those images, not knowing who they were, but immediately when somebody shows me, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. Like, I know that artist. Yes.
So, I mean, obviously you weren't drawing you weren't painting and drawing like this out of the womb. What was the process of when did you know that wait, this is what I want to put out into the world? Because it's got a very signature look to it, man. Very unique.
Well, thank you very much. So it's interesting when I went to art college. I mean, I knew I wanted to go do art. I went to art college for illustration, but I did not have the style I have now. That took sort of a few years outside of college to really develop and understand what I even wanted to, like you said, put out in the world. And I didn't even do watercolor. In fact, when I did it in college, I hated it. So it was awful, but I loved it so much when other people would do it. So that's why then I was like, okay, I just need to learn it. I'm going to make sure that I, just hunker down, learn it, mess up a million times and get it right. And like you said, because I was doing that, I think through that I was able to build up a style that I really liked. And the more that I started doing, especially castles, fantasy, mythical themes, and I was like, this is really what I love doing. That's what I want to do.
Very cool. I think that is. Thank you so much for sharing that. My kids are 22 and 19, right? And they say I have dadisms, okay? And one of my dadisms is sometimes to get where you want to be next, sometimes you have to embrace what you're rejecting. And your story is absolutely that. I'm just going to, once this video is edited, I'm shipping it to both my kids and say, see, this is how it works.
Oh, yes. Well, and also, like, I tell people often that I did go to an art college, and it throws people off that I'm like, no, if you saw anything I did in art college, and even before, it's completely unrecognizable to what I do now. It takes time to really figure out your style, what you want to do. And it was not an easy journey for me. Like, it was sort of, overwhelming that you get out of college and you're like, I'm off into the world, and then you don't know what to do.
Right.
So it did take me time. So when people are kind of struggling with it, I'm always like, well, just, yes, this feels uncomfortable, but keep going and keep figuring out what you like.
I love it, man. Now you've got some pretty cool products on your site. I love the calendar. That's going to hit the cart here soon. The other thing that really stuck out to me are these gorgeous playing cards that you did. And so tell me about the Traveler, this character that shows up in these really rad play. Like, your poker table will never look more whimsical, fam.
Exactly. So the Traveler is a character that I had always put into some of my pieces, just for scale. And at first it was truly just that, like, oh, I just wanted a little Traveler for scale. But then the more I did it, I was like, well, why not incorporate them even into some of my dragon, pieces? And then once I got to the deck of cards and doing the landscapes, I was like, no, this person is traveling throughout the deck. That's what I want. And even within that deck, so it is a regular playing card deck, but I love that there is also a little booklet because there's a seek and find. You have to
Oh,
find the traveler throughout the deck, like which landscapes, because not in every one. But it's not like it's a not necessarily a character that I developed or anything. It's just I always wanted to put myself into that scene, so that is really just me. Just
very cool.
yeah,
And
putting
now,
it into the scene.
now, dragons play a huge role in your work. And again, if Pam, you need to go to we're going to link to her site in the description of this vid. Go look at her stuff. It is freaking gorgeous, man. What is it about dragons that appeal to you as an artist?
So I love that they can really be anything. And especially growing up was a lot of like the mean or, dragons. I mean, like Lord of the Rings Smaug, right? Like you're like, okay, well, but there has to be more to it than just that. And so it's really just started off with not necessarily like I had a passion for dragons. It really just started off like, well, let's just change it up. Maybe I can do some fun puppy dragons. My book series Out and About was truly me just like, well, I want to draw a little dragon, but I'm going to do a puppy dragon because it reminded me of my dogs. And then from there, it just kept going and going and going. And I love drawing all different types, especially friendly, very whimsical. A lot of my calendars, you mentioned the calendars, they're all about like a joke. Like one of my recent ones is a knitting dragon. And I have so many people who look at that and are like, oh my gosh, that is me right there. Cause it's like knitting with cats, So like, or I have a gaming dragon where they're like, the dragon is all over top of their games and like they have 100 different types of games, like hoarding all of them. They're like, that's me right there.
Yeah, I think I think that one's got me nailed to a T. So many board games. I'm also bad. I acquire a lot of books. I start a lot of books. I do not finish many books. I'm definitely a book dragon, gaming dragon, no doubt. So
Yeah.
Corrine, who is your favorite fictional dragon? You mentioned Smaug earlier.
Yeah, it's Dragonheart. I mean, so that's like growing up, that was one of them. But I mean, that was the thing is that growing up too, even that I definitely wanted more of the cute and fun dragons. Actually, like I didn't, for example, this was not necessarily cute and fun, but like Cinderella, I did not like. Oh, I'm sorry, no, Sleeping Beauty. I
Mm.
did not like Sleeping Beauty, but Maleficent. Like the minute she turned into a dragon, I was like, fast forward, get to Maleficent. I was like, oh yeah, like dragon and everything. But even that, I was like, okay, I think I can draw that, but I would like to do like cute and cuddly, or like I said, they're, book reading or drinking tea or doing things that I would do.
Right. Okay. Very cool. I love that. So growing up, having this stuff in your orbit, were you a gamer at all growing up? Were you playing were you playing Dungeons and Dragons at any point? Because all the dragons there tend to be mean as hell. There's a few exceptions.
I know. So interestingly enough, no, I wasn't. But because I was around it. So for example, I loved getting concept books and like, back in the day, they would have concept books for the games or even the movies. And I would get those even if I didn't know the games or the books, just so that I could look at the concept because I love the idea of world building. So unfortunately, I was not necessarily playing with a bunch of people, but then, as I got older too, almost all my friends do some sort of game. So while they're gaming, I'm drawing.
Oh, that's wild. It's funny. I don't know if you know the comedian Adam Conover. He hosts Adam Ruins Everything. He's got a show called Factually. He's
Oh,
brilliant. But
oh
okay,
yes,
that
yes,
guy. Yeah, that
yes,
guy.
that guy. Yeah, definitely.
I was he recently interviewed this guy who's like a professional dungeon master, and Adam shared this story, not terribly unlike yours, where he bought all these damn books because he loved the world. He was socially awkward and didn't have any friends to play with. He's like, I didn't play D&D until I was in my 20s, yo. So it's
Right. You
yeah.
gotta have the friend group for it to do it. Yes.
Right, man. So, tell me about these oracle cards. Now, I've had people read my tarot cards before. I played solitaire with a deck of tarot cards and summoned a demon, and that was a whole ass thing. So tell me about these oracle cards that you put together.
So the playing deck of cards, it's nice because you can just use it as a playing deck of cards, but I also wanted them to be an oracle journey, and truly in the sense of that you can pull a card and just go into that world. Or if you pull it, you have a sense or a feeling about the card. So people would even ask me, well, what about the oracle? And I was like, well, look, it can be as mystical or not as you choose. So for example, I have teachers or even writers who will buy the deck and they're like, oh, this is perfect because they just pull a card and they get started. How would they describe that scene? And so for the Oracle deck, like if you want to make it and use it like a tarot deck, you can. But it truly can be something that, like, even as a gamer, you pull it and then you're going to create a world from that particular card that you pull.
It's a really cool idea starter in a way,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
We were talking about Magic the Gathering earlier. Mark Rosewater, he's been the head designer of the game forever, and he's got this series of articles about creativity. And one of the things he says is that I'm a guy who has to write for a living, right? And the thing that I hate the most is a blank page. I hate that so much. I have to have something on there to bounce off of, and I think with in his phrases restrictions breed creativity. Like the
Yeah.
human brain, like when somebody tells you, no, you can't, your brain's like, I'll figure it out.
Oh, exactly. No, and in fact, when you're talking about my style, one of the things that I would do that really helped me out because I was very limited on time. So, one of the things I developed my style while working at a law office. And so, in between doing everything, I'd be sketching. Well, you have to have restrictions. And so, I would narrow it down to like what you're talking about, dragons, castles, scenery. Just staring at a blank page, it's like, or all options are open to you. No, thank you. No, thank you. So if you give yourself some restrictions, or especially when you're talking about that card deck, you just pull a card. How would you describe the scene and go? And it's
Mhm.
very interesting too, to like people I notice get a little intimidated about saying how they feel about a card. And so it's very interesting with this, like, well, how does this make you feel? If you don't like it, why? Because I'll have people who have like a guttural response to some landscapes. They're like, ooh, that looks scary. And it's like, well, why does it look scary? So little things like that, you kind of find out things about yourself. And then if you were a writer, you need restrictions, you just pull it and then go.
Yeah, it's meditative in a way. It's I don't know, man. Like I'm not yeah, when it comes to like tarot stuff, I'm not a big spooky woo woo guy. Like it's
Sure.
fine. I've never seen it as like a prognosticative thing, but more of like a lens through which to view whatever issue you're asking the deck or whatever the hell. Just another lens to view it. It's not a predictor, but it gives you stuff to think about. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Oh, visually. And that's even when I was teaching, like one of the big things that I was teaching, I would ask students, like, well, what do you think about this? Or why is this piece so important to you? And it's so interesting that when you ask somebody to break it down a little bit, they probably didn't consciously break it down. They might have been like, like, oh, no, I like this. But like I said, when you ask, well, why? All of a sudden it's just like, like they
don't
don't know how to describe it.
don't make me be vulnerable. There's nothing metal about vulnerability. Love it.
Yes. And that
So,
is true. Like right there, you can make it, like I said, you can make it as mystical or not. Like it doesn't have to be a thing where you're like, well, this is predicting my future. No, it's more about you reading yourself.
right, right. Again, kind of meditative. There is a little bit of self therapy.
Yeah,
Probably better self therapy than grabbing a bottle of something and getting hammered. So,
that's right. Exactly.
although that doesn't hurt it from time to time. I mentioned metal earlier. What sort of tunes do you listen to when you're working?
Oh, so I listen to a lot of soundtracks. If there's a movie that I love, I will probably be listening to it. So recently I've been rewatching like the old The Thing, and that's one of
Oh,
my favorite. Or I'll listen to like true classics like Dark Crystal, things like that. So soundtracks, Star Wars, all Back to the Future, a lot of my classics, those are my favorite go-to because a lot of times I need noise or like especially if you have music, boom, like I'll start getting a lot of visuals for like landscapes or fantasy themes, all that kind of stuff, but I can't necessarily have anybody singing like words. Yeah.
yeah.
So I kind of just need like true music in the background.
As a guy who writes for a living, the second somebody starts rapping or singing, I'm like singing along with it, and all of a sudden the script that I'm writing turns into a bunch of damn Dr. Dre lyrics or whatever. which is fine. That's fine for some projects, just not for the ones that I'm not for commercials.
Exactly, yes. Well,
Yeah.
or like for me, like I grew up on roller skates and, like dancing, right? So the minute it has a good beat or you have a lot of words, well, then I want to get up and dance. And so that's not good for art, you know? So
The watercolor gets a little splashy
yeah, it gets a
once
little
you're
too
shaking.
splashy.
I love it. Corrine, I know you've got a lot of this stuff lined up. You have a very busy life and a lot of stuff to produce and like watercolor. Again, she ain't using robots to do it, fam. This is real art. Support real artists, damn it. So I got one more question for you. What is your favorite part of doing these conventions?
Actually, like seeing the people. Like it's one thing to be creating, and I do love that time. It's a solitary thing. You're just in your own studio creating, but I also need that flip side where then I'm in front of people talking to them, seeing how they look at the art, getting their feedback. And it's not, I don't mean like even a critique on my artwork, just seeing them excited about also being at a show or a convention, like they're excited to be there. And so that is really, it gives me the energy to then go back to a very quiet studio. So I need both things, but that's what I like about going to conventions.
I can absolutely relate. I walk into this little room every day, say dumb stuff into a microphone, hope to God people find me charming, and then I walk out of the room thinking, well, I guess that went okay.
Like you're just, well, it is, it can be a very solitary thing, or like you're asking yourself, like, do you think people will like this? And then it's not until you get in front of people and see if they actually do. Yeah.
Right, right. Wait, they do listen. They're actually happy to see me. What the hell? That's
Yeah.
such a foreign thing.
Yes, exactly.
Corrine Roberts, fam, we've got links to all of her stuff in the description of this video. You can see her at Capital City Comic Con hitting the Lansing Center coming up here in mid-July. We have all the deets on that in the description of this video. Corrine, we love your work. Keep the dragons coming. We love it, man.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, have a great summer.
Michigan's Rock Station. Q106.